Hello everyone, what's going on? My name's Poppin. Welcome to another decade movie pick video. Now, we're nearing the end of the 2020s, which is the current decade we're in, and with 2026 coming in soon, and we're down to the last three after 2026, those being 2027, 2028, and 2029. So I thought it would be interesting to do a look back to the previous 5 decades, 2020 to 2025. And what better way by going through the 5 decades with 5 movies chosen. Now, let's get one thing clear. One, this is based on my opinion, so don't feel discouraged if yours is different. Then I strongly can handle it. Now then, without out of the way, time to begin with the year that frowned the world. Okay, 2020, the starting year of the 2020s, and the year that was deemed the worst. I mean, most of the world was in lockdown, and there was a pandemic going on, but that didn't stop movies. So for this pick for the starting year, 2020, I get shudders when I mention it. So what better way to pick is Peninsula, released in 2020. This action horror Korean film from South Korea. It's a follow-up to 2016's Train to Busan, in which it was chosen at the Festival des Cannes in 2020. Right before the pandemic began, Peninsula is a follow-up to Train to Busan. I mean, it has zombies, action, and some very cool scenes like a little RV monster truck. And yeah, Peninsula would be my go-to whenever people ask me of what is my favorite movie from 2020. This is the one. Also, it's also distributed by Shudder, so thank you, Shudder, for that. Next up, we get a bit more artsy in 2021. So next up, 2021. Or should I say year 2 of the 2020s. Again, the world is still in health crisis, but that didn't stop movies again. So there was a variety of movies from 2021. So if I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with this Icelandic film, Lamb, by Valdimar Johansson, distributed by 824. This is an Icelandic film that follows a woman and her husband on a farm, a sheep farm in Iceland. And surprisingly enough, this is the first Icelandic movie in the collection. So yeah, I pretty much have a lot of international films, not just Canada and Mexico, but also other countries, with Iceland joining. Now, Lamb is a surreal folk horror film, and it's quite a weird trip. Watch it for the first time, and I feel weirded out. Just one bit. So yeah. However, 2022 would be different. This is when, this will be a debate between art and mainstream. And with that, we're going straight into 2022 with an installment that brought a series that's been around since 1996 back into relevancy. (2022). This is when things in the world started to get back to better. So, in January of 2022, there was one franchise that made a big comeback. Scream 2022, or Scream 5. The 5th installment in the Scream series, which saw a big revitalization for the series, and as well bringing Ghostface back after being inactive for over 11 years since, Scream 4 on the big screen back in 2011. And notably, this is the first film in the series not to be directed by Wes Craven following his passing in 2015. Instead, it's directed by Radio Silence, who, some time ago, made a segment for VHS back in 2012, but now they decided to make a commitment with the Scream series. Following 2019's Ready or Not, Radio Silence has brought the Scream series back from hiatus into a new generation, in which we got a new star, new character. The one only, drumroll please, Sam Carpenter, played by the one and only Melissa Barrera. And also, Jenna Ortega plays Tara Carpenter, so yeah, that's a bonus. And also, keeping up the tradition of legacy characters, we gotta see the old trio, Sydney, Dewey, and Gale. So yeah. And with that, Scream 5 really brought the series back and revitalized a new era, which ultimately would lead to a sixth film the following year. And the following year, with that, this is the one year I will always remember. What brought a very long way a project to the big screen. Okay, 2023, the year that, well, things started to go back to the way they were. But before that, there was one movie that's been in development for a very long time, since 2015, based on a well-known video game of all time, Five Nights at Freddy's. It was based on the hit video game series by Scott Coffin, in which, believe it or not, the movie has been in development hell for years. Initially, Warner Bros. Was going to make the movie, but after messing up with the script, Scott reclaimed the rights to the movie and gave it to Blumhouse as a new partnership. So yeah, if you recall in the Banana Splits movie back in 2019, yeah, that movie was a childhood ruining one. So yeah, the Banana Splits movie, I think that movie had a lot of bits of what was planned to be the FNAF movie, but I'm glad Scott stepped in and took the movie back and gave it to Universal. So a bullet dodged. So yeah, it took over a decade, but now we got a full movie. A big screen adaptation from the games to the big screen. In fact, it's not meant for critics, it's for the fans, myself included. It's got a unique cast and the one and only Matthew Lillard, who plays William Afton in the movie. Yes, the Matthew Lillard, the GOAT, the legend, the treasure himself. So yeah, it took almost over a decade for Five Nights at Freddy's to come to the big screen, and they succeeded. And the animatronics are very faithful to their games, well, to their counterparts from the games, by Henson Workshop. If you're familiar with Henson Workshop, that's a company owned by Jim Henson, who is the creator of the Muppets. So yeah, I'm happy that surprising enough, this year they got a sequel with the toy animatronics and the Wizards. And again, like the original, it kicked a lot of butt at the box office and loved by fans. Speaking of long-awaited projects, there's another long-awaited project by one director ever since 2015. And this one finally came out on Christmas Day in 2024. Alright, 2024. Let's keep this project train going. So from 2024, not only we saw some more movies by well-talented directors and old franchises like Alien being brought back, but this one has been a long-awaited project by Robert Eggers, the director behind The Witch and The Lighthouse. And this one's a remake of a 1922 German silent film classic, Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers and released on Christmas Day 2024. Now, this is a remake of the 1922 silent film. Now, much like the original film, Nosferatu is an unauthorized version of Bram Stoker's novel, in which the vampire in this movie is not Dracula, it's Orlok, or if you like, Nosferatu, starring the one and only Bill Skarsgård, well known as Pennywise the Clown in It. Also starring as, well, we got Nicholas Hoult, who surprisingly played Renfield in 2023's Renfield, in which that was a Dracula movie. So yeah, and also this is a big one, but Lily Rose Depp. Yes, the Lily Rose Depp, the daughter of Johnny Depp. I'm surprised she actually took this role as a big one, in contrast to her first appearance on screen in A24's Tusk by Kevin Smith. And honestly, it's a big step up for her. So props to you, Depp. Also Willem Dafoe, the second time that Willem Dafoe and Robert Eggers work. Oh, fun fact, Dafoe actually played Max Schreck / Orlok in Shadows back in 2000. So, what a surprise. Nosferatu is no doubt one of the best remakes of an old film from over for 100 years. A big milestone. So, this movie totally rules 2024. And with that, we go straight to the final one, 2025. And this one's my pick, so get ready for it. Okay, 2025, the current year that we're in, or should I say, the year that's going to end soon with 2026 rolling in. Now, there is one movie I have to choose. I think it's quite obvious. This film, The Toxic Avenger Reboot, directed by Mackin Blair, the producer of A24's Green Room, and produced by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hers, the directors behind the original 4 films. Now, the movie had a very, very long time of development. Plans were in talks back in 2015 of a remake of Toxic Crusaders, a kid-friendly version of The Toxic Avenger, with Arnold Schwarzenegger say to play the role of Toxie, but he turned down due to his commitment with Terminator Genesis, and I respect Arnie's decision on that one. So, the film began production in 2021, and it had a premiere at a film festival in September in Austin, Texas, and my God, it won critics, just like with the original film back then. Now, initially the movie was supposed to be out in 2024 to coincide with the franchise's 40th anniversary. Again, there was a problem with finding a distributor, and a year later, Cineverse stepped in, and my God, the movie delivered. The Toxic Avenger Reboot. Now, just like with the original, it's not for the faint of heart. It's a cult film, and I applaud Peter Dinklage for playing the Toxic Avenger. So you get praise for that, Dinklage. Jacob Tremblay as Wade. That was a pretty good one. And surprisingly enough, veterans like, Kevin Bacon, a longtime veteran who's been in various horror flicks like Friday the 13th and Tremors, and Elijah Wood. Yes, the Elijah Wood. The actor who is well known as Frodo in Lord of the Rings. But now he played a character who was brothers with Kevin Bacon's character. Now, I chose this movie as my favorite of 2025. I call The Toxic Avenger Reboot my film of the year. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of this video. One of my favorite movies from the 2020s so far. More movies will be coming soon in 2026, again of 2027, 28, and 29. So I'll have to wait for a very long time to do another video like this. Until then, guys, I encourage you to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone!